Hi, and welcome to Telepathic TV. This is television that you watch with your third eye, and I'm R. Neville Johnston.
And I'm Mary Phelan, and our program is about raising our consciousness. And tonight's show is called Seeing Everything as Love.
Yeah, excellent. And this is what there is too little of. There's a whole lot of quotes on this. One of the quotes we would talk about is the idea of heaven on earth. A lot of people have advertised, nobody's delivered. And the reason nobody's delivered is we don't have the bit drive. We have the bit drive, but it's not well enough educated to recognize everything, first of all, is on our side. The minute we are in a position to recognize that event was on my side, why would you say that? Okay, well, it depends on the event, of course, but there's a specific reason. Everything is on your side. And there's a word for the idea that everything is on your side, and that word is evolution. That is the word. You're evolving. Have you noticed there was the event, 10 years went by, then you recognize it as on your side? 10 years is sort of a poor show for taking that long to recognize why that was on. If what's his or her name hadn't cheated on me and broken up with me and blah, 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 I might have had kids with said other person and have been tagged to them, not like the Facebook tag, far more sinister. They would be in your life for the rest of your life. Okay, so it was absolutely a blessing that they did that. Oh yeah, well that took me 10 years to figure out. Let's do that a lot quicker. Let's recognize everything is having to do with love. And then you can actually, at least for one whole breath, live in heaven on earth, because everything is actually on your side. So how do I recognize, during the show tonight, if you have something in your life that has troubled you, could you please call in? You don't even have to give your name. And we will explain to you why that is love, because everything is made of love. Right now you're looking at love. Yes, it looks like a dog or a television set or whatever you're looking at, but everything is made of love. Everything is made of light. Light is made of love. From Marianne Rada's book, Love is the Reason Water is Wet. And that's the book Opalescent 9. If anyone's reading that, please contact me. I'd like to talk with someone about that particular book. But to return to what we're talking about, the love is everything. It's all made of love. It's all made of love particles. And when we cannot recognize that, what is going on is love is playing a excellent job of hide and seek.
Well, anything that we perceive as not being love, I've mentioned this before, but you remember the automatic writing I did about 13 years ago or so, where it was talking about what we think of as fear is love missing a component.
Correct.
Rather than being separate from love, which is how we normally perceive it. That, I'm feeling sad, and love is way over there. And somehow I have to locomote myself and knock what's ever in my way out of the way and get myself over there to love. But when we see that love is always there, and if it feels like it's not, it's just our awareness. We're missing a piece of awareness. And so then you look for that awareness to get your true eyesight back. And it's a much bigger picture. Well, I feel very fortunate. My mother used to always say, everything happens for a reason, and everything is in divine order. And that's how I like to look at it. I know you were saying, or using the example, that maybe that not marrying that person, then this wonderful thing came into your life.
Yes.
But I think not even to look for why, but to trust it.
Yes.
Because if you're looking for some explanation that, well, in 10 years I'll see the blessing in it, or I'll see why, even to do that, that means you're holding that file open and you're waiting for that validation in order to tell you that this indeed was love. So if you assume it with all things, it comes much quicker, number one, the byproduct. I remember being shown in a dream one time about validation, where I was just starting to do my intuitive work, and it was very important to me to deliver the best quality that I can do. I've always been conscientious in that way, and that's what I choose to do. And so I had a dream, and in the dream I was standing in front of 2 elevators. And the elevator on the right is where I was in line. I was the first in line. And now I realize that represented my left brain.
Right.
But at any rate, the elevator door opened up, and the floor in the, of the elevator and the floor in the building were not even. And so I had a feeling like it might crash or something. I didn't want to get on, and this guide was standing next to me. And I said, I related my feelings, and they said, well, don't go. So I had to get out of the line, and everybody else got on, and I stood in front of the other elevators. It opened up and it looked fine, and me and the guide got on there. And I said, can I go back and see if that elevator crashed, to see if I was right about my feelings? And the guide said, no, you have to trust, and your validation will come later. First you must trust your feelings, and your validation will come later. In other words, it's not the validation that brings the trust of your feelings. It's the trust of your feelings that will then bring the validation.
Absolutely.
And I hadn't gotten it quite prior to that. But after that, I started realizing that I have to get to that, what we call the leap of faith, whatever it is. We have to get to the place where we trust that this is love. And then the love shows up immediately.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we're saying during the course of the program, would you be so kind as to call in if there's something that you don't understand why that is love? Why was baby seals being clubbed a form of love? And we can answer that question, or any question you might have. This is our point. It is the ability to recognize what's going on. All those baby seals died in order for us to have the consciousness about not walking around in animal skins, because we're a more advanced race. We build, you know, there's if you happen to be going to the South Pole, there's a fiber that's based on the way a polar bear keeps himself warm, which is the hairs in his coat are hollow. And so they've mimicked that in a fabric, and the insulating, and thinsulate is another version of it. So the baby seals did not die in vain, as though they might have died in artery, but certainly not in vain. And that was an act of love. The seals stopped their incarnations in order for us to be able to have this broadcast, in order for us as the race to create to take nature and tweak it slightly in a good way, rather than what we normally do with tweaking nature.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful. One thing to keep in mind, though, when you go and rely strictly on divine order and trusting in divine order, I think it's good a good exercise, particularly at the beginning, to look for that and to define it. But eventually, by trusting in divine order, you don't even have to go through that process where you are saying it's because of what the research or whatever that is about, and say, I choose to trust in divine order, and whatever is in divine order. So perhaps if people would like to write that down, it's very powerful. I trust in divine order, and what is always in divine order. So what that does is it sets you up with not resisting the what is. And I think what you're talking about is very beneficial. It's the bridge that gets you there for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But if we say everything is in divine order, all of a sudden the resistance to it gets dropped.
Yes.
You enter into a state of peace, and then comes the next question that you ask yourself: what is my power within this is?
Yes.
Within the is, what is my power? Rather than resisting what the is. Oh, the man cheated on me and he's gone now. Well, to resist that is futile, as they would say in as 7 of 9 would say. It's futile. It really is, because it is what it is. So he's left you. Now what? Where's your power? Once you ask yourself, what's my power now? You'll see that there's 1,000 different choices for you to make. And then you pick one, and that's how you get unstuck. So everything is in divine order, and whatever is in divine order.
Yeah, and then you can return immediately to following the initiative of whatever the decision of what's next, what is my power now. And once you decide that, then there's immediately an initiative listed for you, and then you can return to follow it. Whereas if you are stuck in that rut of, I've been betrayed, Yeah.
Well, that's the resistance to what is.
Right, yeah, exactly. So this movement
thing.
on, yeah. And I'd be curious if people want to share with us something that is still a mystery, because this program is, I think in some alternate reality we were detectives, because you can see this, why is this love? So get a detective on that.
That's the
Dirk
name of my
Gently.
company.
Yes, and, well, that's also...
Mary's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yes, that's true.
I do feel like a detective, like I was saying, because it's so much about uncovering what's already there.
Yes.
That's what life is.
Being able to see what's right in front of you is what we're talking about, and that is the process by which you recognize it all as love. So for years and years we've been saying that there is the event, and then there is the reaction, which is instant, the reaction, in fact, your reaction time, okay? But then there's the response, and the response is the truth about it. The response is the healing. The response is and then there's yet another response and another response. So I'm certain everyone's acquainted with the idea of my having been shot, and then a year and a half or something later, I recognized that I couldn't forgive the man that shot me, because there was nothing to forgive, because it was really, truly my idea that I be shot, and I'm happy with it. And then another year and a half or something after that, I recognized that I loved the soul for having shot me. And then very quickly, what happened was that contract between us, where our lifetimes had been, I kill him, he kills me, I kill him, he kills me, I kill him, that vanished. I'm no longer tagged to that, and not in the Facebook way. I'm no longer tagged to that individual about having to reincarnate, hunt him down and kill him, and then he would blah, blah, blah. All of that went away. Okay, so then very recently I've had yet another revelation that was byproduct of one of the waking meditations that occurred. And I recognized this, and I don't know exactly where this happened in my thinking, but I saw the amount of light that my third eye was capable of trafficking after that event, which I had never quite had it that way. And and everything about me has a sense of humor. So the third eye was capable of so much light that it became a ball of light. And then I put sunglasses on because of the future being so bright. You know the song, Of Course You Do. Okay, I don't care if you don't. Look it up. Come on, how old are you? That old, eh? I mean young. How young are you? You don't know. That's all right, we're back now. So again, do call in. The idea being that if we can get we, the human race, ratcheted up yet another degree, and that's what we've been doing with this show, and its entire concept has been to get the base of us to be at a higher level of consciousness, then everything else just goes right up. So to get us more conscious is to make this a knee-jerk, an instantaneous reaction to the event. Oh, that was very loving of you to have shot me. Yeah? Okay. That was very loving of you to have, and then there's no incentive for anyone to misbehave. There's no incentive to litter. There's no incentive to be negative, because it doesn't get that attention. See, we've in the dissolution of guilt, which we've done on this show so many times, in getting rid of guilt. Guilt is nailed into existence because of the amount of attention that you get when you do something that you feel guilty about. It's overwhelming, the amount of attention. Just to explain it briefly, the small child is playing in the fantasy world of action figures, be they Transformers or Barbies. But the idea of the fantasy world is, and a graphic novelist would pay money for what's going through that kid's head. And then the phone rings, and the kid peers out from his fantasy and sees some parent go and pick up the phone and goes, oh, the parent's attention is on someone else. I can't handle this. I will go and tug on said parent till the parent goes, I told you I'm on the phone. And the kid goes, my God, what a boatload of attention. All of it guilty attention, but boy, that was attention, and that's what's running us. We're more interested in what's guilty. Oh, they found the defendant innocent. Really? Which defendant? What? Where? I have no idea. But if they were guilty, oh, you can name it like that. Oh, come on, we got to get over this. And that's recognizing it. Everything is love. That's recognizing that as love. Okay? What appears to be dark to us, but that's love as well. That's the idea of
Well, do you remember
nemesis.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nemesis, yeah, which is really our greatest friend, our greatest teacher.
Right.
Well, it reminds me of the petty tyrant in the Carlos Castaneda books. These beings that we think are here to pick at us and to aggravate us are really our great teachers.
Yes.
And that if we look at them that way, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But I had a dream a long time ago. I guess I'll stop because they're going to talk about your painting first.
No, well, finish your...
No? I didn't want to start something if the painting was going to be up. Okay, well, it's up.
All right, let me do this, and then we'll come back to that point. So sorry about that.
That's okay, no problem.
This is recently done. I believe this is the last painting I did, and it's in acrylic. And when I was a small child, my mother took me to be tutored in oil paints and with 10 or so other kids in this woman's house. Who was going to show us all how to paint, and she gave each of us a blank canvas, and she gave each of us a set of oil paints and a bunch of brushes. And so she gives this stuff to me, and then she goes on to the next kid. And I take the crimson, and I make a huge gob of crimson out of the tube, and I take the biggest brush, and I pick up a nice wad of it, and I just go right across the canvas, just like that, at the exact angle this thing is at. And the sight of the crimson molecules leaving the brush and going on to the canvas so instilled in me this joy that it still exists today. And now I did this painting without the memory of this in the childhood, although you can see how this is basically the same thing. Now this is the exact place, I call this the paintbrush of God. I also call this painting, gee, the universe could use another coat of paint. There's a number of names for it. Okay, so the molecules from the brush ignite the, in this case, gray of the canvas, and turn it into any number of infinity signs. One of them happens to be number 8, pick one out. But this ignition is the same thing that happened in me. This painting is this connection to another layer of thought that allows us to become more than we are. So, done in acrylics, it's
quite lovely.
20 by 30, I think, is the size of the board it's done on, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah,
it's quite lovely.
Yeah, they are. These things just come through me. They're a regular freight train. Yeah, that's them wanting to be painting at this very moment. So that's the energy being retract, in that way.
It's quite lovely to be able to create, or to allow ourselves to create in whatever form is good for us to create in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were talking about.
I don't remember what was leading up. What was leading up to that, but the idea that
petty tyrant.
That this good and bad thing, this evil thing. I had a dream a long time ago, and I know I've said it on the show for a long time, viewers, but it has been a while, and I call it my Violet Sea dream, where I was going through these many different modes of transportation, through airplane and boat, and finally I was on this like river boat, and I was being taken to the Violet Sea, and I was very excited about going. I knew this was the highest vibrational place that I could conceive of. And so I get there, and all of a sudden I'm in the water, and I'm floating. You can't sink, I was just floating. And I looked, and the water actually looked dark, like black, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I've been tricked and not taken to the Violet Sea, but the Black Sea. And so I had a momentary minute of alarm, and this mermaid creature came over and scooped up water in a mason jar and held it up to the light, and it was a very, very deep violet. And she said, all blackness is concentrated divinity, just shine more light on it. And it really shifted the way I looked at things. So if something appears to be troublesome in your life, shine more light, shine more illumination, shine more consciousness on it. And so if you live by the rule of divine order and everything is in divine timing, then you can shine your light and get more information. It's like, and one day I'll print this out and bring it in, the automatic writing saying love is just missing something, like sadness is love acted out in the belief of separation.
Right,
it's all these different things. And when I felt that, when I said, I'm already in love and I'm just not aware of something, then it's like that violet seed dream, the illumination of my consciousness, looking for what part of my awareness is missing, what am I not seeing in here?
Yes.
Then it all becomes pure violet sea again.
Yeah.
So in your life, you may wish to look for something that you feel is not right or whatever, and look at it with those eyes, that the love is already there, it's all pure love, and it's just a perspective change. And if you add that to your vision, then the love will materialize right in front of your eyes, or you'll be able to see it. It's not, it's already there.
Yeah, and the design in this show, and it's all very well put, in fact, excellent. The design of this particular show is to get you to remember your power and authority as far as your ability to command reality right in front of your face, so that that desolate bunch of zombies, as though they aren't popular, can suddenly become just love itself. That's the whole thing, to see
all
through
the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, to see through a different set of consciousness than what we're used to, and to not, we don't want to, that's a complicated one, I'll do something. Again, if there's something in your life that you don't understand why that is love, why did they do that, then call us up and we would be very, very happy to explain how you can see this as love, because we do live in heaven on earth. We are just a trifle amnesiac about it, but nonetheless, we are here to grant you the power and authority to recognize love in all things. And once you do, you live in a different world. You really, truly do. And, officer, yes, I know I was speeding, and I know you've had a rough day, and I mean, I've had a rough day. Who's had the rough day again? And you can just change things just in that exact moment. You can recreate a new reality around yourself by recognizing, and pardon the cliche, the blessing and everything, by recognizing the love, recognizing the authority that is love, recognizing that everything is made of love, recognizing that the entire illusion that you're looking at right at the moment, which may be a television or a computer if you're watching us online, it can just turn into love. The entire of whatever you're looking at is made of particles. The particles are made of thought. The thoughts are your thoughts. You are in charge of your thoughts. You can augment your thoughts in such a way that the reality that you're looking at transmutes itself into something truly beautiful and loving.
Well, I would say, just to add on to that before you move away from the recognizing list, is recognize your power to see the love. Because that's the biggest thing I see when people, and I've even lived through myself, as I say.
All of us.
It's not like some of us just dropped on this earth and didn't have to walk through life. I mean, I've had my experiences, we all have, and we all have areas that we feel a lot of great strength in, and other areas where we feel like maybe we're here to gain some more insight into. But if the people that are really depressed and sad, it's because they're not recognizing their power to see the love. They're thinking that power to see the love exists in someone else's hands, or in some feedback.
Or
and
love is
not within there. So recognize your power to see the love. Do we have a call?
Yes, we do. The love is somewhere over there. That's the big,
the home.
Hi, caller. What can we do for you?
Hi, this is Edith.
Edith.
Hi, Edith.
Hi.
I just had a question.
Sure.
You're saying everything is love, and I certainly have a hard time believing that when people are really obnoxious at work or nasty. I just have a hard time seeing that as love. So I just wanted to get
Okay, so
your feedback on that. And
That's a
I'll
good
sign
question.
up.
yeah,
That's a good question.
Well, Edith, thank you very much for the call. That's really quite stimulating. And so we'll just say the obnoxious one is, first of all, as I was saying, having a bad day. But the obnoxious is for you to. Their being obnoxious is your opportunity to be powerful and loving, and that's one thing that's loving about it. Gee, I know all these things so well.
Well, if you'd like time to collect your thoughts,
Yes, I have a thought collector. It's gasoline run. I'll just
I know.
start
I
it
was
over
thinking
here.
of it as a vacuum cleaner as they fly around. I think
Yeah.
that would be a good thing to sell. Maybe
Thought
Ronco
collector.
or K-Tel will sponsor such an object.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things to see is, first of all, expand your definition of love, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say, what comes to mind is, I don't remember if it was Lassie, but actually I think it was, what was that Steve Martin movie where he invented those glasses?
Yeah, The Jerk.
The Jerk. And he was leaving, and the dog kept following him. And he goes, "Go away, who wants you?" And so then the dog finally left. And we've seen it on Lassie, we've seen it in lots of movies like that, where they're yelling at the dog to leave because it's for the dog's greater good, to not follow them because they think that the dog's going to have a worse life by following them. That is love, and we would all probably say, okay, that was an act of love, what he was doing. Well, if we assume that everything is love, we're not waiting for it to be proven that it's love, but we assume it is love. We're expanding our definition, because right now our definition of love is very, very tiny. It's when someone brings you some flowers, or someone says, "How was your day?"
Yeah.
Okay, that's love, we'll acknowledge that. Or it's this and this and this, and it's probably a list that'll fit on one piece of paper. That's what love is. If we expand our scope of what love is, we can see a bigger picture. And I think that when people are acting that way, it's because they are afraid of love in some fashion, and they're pushing people away. As a matter of fact, this gets into Evan's question, where he was asking, and so maybe I'll tie it together if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Evan had written an email about a question. We were talking about external validation last week, and he was saying, well, what is that fine line between putting up these defenses that shut people out and not care what people think, but doing it because of a fear of rejection is different than really saying, I don't care how people feel about me. And I think that that's a big thing. People are so afraid that the love is separate from them, that what we tend to do is strike out and force love as far away from us as possible, because we're afraid of being hurt. So if I were to look at the love with the office mates, I would see, what is it that they're missing? They are attempting to get love. Like, I think we fight with each other because we're looking to get back to love. We're looking to clear the decks, to get all this out on the table, and let's have a blow up and clear it, because everyone craves to get closer to love. So by seeing your coworker's action as an act of love, or someone's resistance to opening up to something as an act of love, then what they're really looking for is someone to get them to come out and get closer to love. And when you see the real motive, you don't fall for the red herring.
Oh, that's very well
They're
put.
pushing it away.
Now, love is, as we say, the common definition of love is something like dessert. It's sweet and it's piled up at the end, and that keeps you from recognizing the other forms of love that are all around. And so let's say another aspect, another mirror in this whole thing is the past life history with Edith, with your co-worker. This is very mild compared to what it was in past lives. There are no axes, no torture chambers, no knights in shining armor, all the rest of that stuff. So one of the reasons this is act of love is that it affords you the opportunity to be the more authoritative, to be the more powerful one. I know Mary has been talking about this, but if it's, they're very obnoxious and you go, oh, you poor thing, and that will light them up pretty good, which is also a form of love. I realize you've had a bad day. You poor thing. You're so hostile and angry, as you say, pushing away love because you might be hurt, and there you are. That's it. They can't harm you from that perspective.
Well, that's very true, and also we have to recognize our role in it, because even though they may have initiated that intense level of feeling, it's hitting a harmony within you, or it would not come to you, it wouldn't bother you. And so we can't get them to stop doing whatever, nor do we wish to. That's all up to them to recognize love or to walk near love. But the power that we have, and this is where the love in this is, because maybe this is teaching this to you, like the petty tyrants are, how is it that I can no longer react to that? What is the harmony that makes this hurt me? Because if you can get that, maybe it's love showing you, remember, love brings out anything unlike love so that it may be healed. Maybe love is utilizing this person's thing, whatever's going on with them, to call up some part of you that feels like it's not okay to get close. I know sometimes there can be this dynamic between two people or two groups of people, and really each of them is just reacting to their perceived fear of rejection or fear of whatever.
Loss,
and so then that fear triggers the fear in the other person, and they react in a certain way that then triggers the fear, and it becomes like a closed circuit, like the Hatfields and the McCoys, and it just can't stop. So even if it's not your fault, even if you know, hey, if you think you're completely innocent in it, look for what is your role for perpetuating the circuit, even if it's just being upset about it, and do something about that and the circuit goes away.
Yeah. And to have the knee-jerk response, go ahead, to have the knee-jerk response be that you love the person rather than are hurt or afraid or just bullied or belittled, any of it.
And that the universe is on your side, and this is somehow there to be on your side.
Hi, I'm the heart talking to you. Everybody is aware of Fibonacci, yes, and when I first heard, I thought, Fibonacci, come on, the thing's a fib, what are you talking about? Okay, and he did the mathematical equation to be a right-angle version of the nautilus, or the perpetual curved spiral. So he did it via mathematics, and I agree. So when I was first introduced to the idea that this lifetime would include study of sacred geometry, I, in meditation, asked for the triangle to show me what it had. That was basically the question. And so I saw the triangle expand in a certain way. And then I found the cube to be more solid, but it was still capable of expansion. And then the 5-sided, 6-sided, 7, the further up you go, the easier it is to see the way in which they expand, because you're approaching a circle. The larger number of the octahedron, or whatever number it is, the closer it gets to a circle. Now the heart, which is a sacred geometry form, the way we have it, and there's enough proof of it, didn't expand the way the other ones did. In fact, this is a painting of the way I see the expanse of the geometry of the heart. See, each time it pulses, it does a reset. And when I first sketched it, it made a lot of sense to me, but the sketch sat there for 6 months or something before it occurred to me I really ought to just continue on with that and do the painting. So I'm calling this one's Fibonacci's heart, and all of this makes sense to me. If there are any questions, then certainly you have questions, which I'd be willing to answer, but you'd have to ask. So anyhow, this is an acrylic, and the earlier painting, both are in acrylic, and it's growing, run. No, wait, that was the blob, sorry. Where am I? Yeah, so this is the expanse of the heart, moving towards, by the way, the pink heart is the loving heart, and the green heart is the healing heart. And we will get the healing heart. That's a good one, except people read it as jealousy, but we can do that. Anyhow, so the latest of the paintings.
Very lovely.
Happy to present, yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on a deck, the relationship guidance deck, which will be up online pretty soon. And get it. My next deck is coming out in print too, the Magical Messages deck.
Yay!
But my relationship deck is all done in hearts. That's the little characters are hearts. So I'm particularly drawn to hearts, as you know.
Makes us very hardy. Yes.
And we're hardy. Yes, we're hardy people for sure.
Yeah, to be sure. Yeah.
Well, I think what Edith was saying is so important because that's a big thing. People, our relationships with each other are the mirror that teaches us about the relationship within ourselves. So the people that we are having friction with can be a direct mirror of a part of us that's having friction with another part of us. And if you can settle that war within you, which we have the power to do that at all times, that we are the master of our domain in more ways than one, and we are the one that really says, okay, I declare peace within myself, then there cannot be this conflict outside. And I know, it may be that you have done absolutely nothing, just in general, and I'm not speaking only to you, Edith, to everybody. It may seem like you were just going about your business and they did X, Y, and Z, but sometimes it's our history, our emotional history, that will cause us to react in such a way because of our history, that the energy will trigger some dysfunction or old pain within them, and it starts that feud. So we can circumvent this just by looking within and saying, I choose to no longer give that power in my life.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that idea of what Evan was talking about this external validation and not caring what people think out of more of a rebellious thing rather than it being that's what we truly feel. I think that we do put up walls. And people, because if you believe that love is outside of you and that somehow it has to be given to you or that you have to find your way over to there through good works or whatever this is, that we're afraid of being separated from love again, and that feeling, that illusion of being separate is so scary. I think that's what we're all running from when it looks like we're running from love. We're running from the fear of being separated, but once you know you can't be separated, that it's all an illusion and a perspective, then you can open up to any kind of love because you have nothing to lose because you can't lose it.
It's
love, all right there inside.
The L in, yes, excellent. The L in love is a right angle, and a right angle is an interdimensional access portal. The Chokure is the perfect example of it. And so if you take a lone and you add an extra L, it becomes all one. And so, that is the great fear. So once we reprogram ourselves, once we reinitiate the method by which we process reality, which is a very succinct way to state the goal that this program has. Once we get that trigger mechanism to work to recognize love, then when someone cuts you off in traffic, you don't race ahead and then cut them off to show them what they've done to you, which is inherently funny and slightly costly, or very costly depending on the subsequent ticket or accidents. But once you recognize the love, well, that person is certainly in a hurry, and I love, honor, and praise them for being in their hurry, and thank you for reminding me I'm not in this desperate race with humanity, as though getting there quicker is going to do anything other than dramatically age you, and that's then we can live a longer lifespan, and we can have a different form of government, and we can have a phone call. But go ahead, and then I'll get the call.
Real quick, and then we'll take the call.
Yeah.
If you'd like to join a group on Facebook, you can friend me, Mary Phelan, on Facebook. And I have a group I've started called Tap It Out, which I put up statements every day, and one that I put up recently for you to tap to, and it can bring profound healing to you. One is, even though I've been hurt in the past, I choose to open up to love in all its forms. So that's something you can say as an affirmation. Even though I have been hurt in the past, I choose to open up. What that does is, even if you've been hurt and you're afraid to open up to love, you can say this, and it puts a bridge over that fear or that old experience. Meaning that even though I have been hurt, I still choose to open up to love, and you're exercising your power even still.
Yeah, and that's the point. Yes.
We'll do that.
Hi, caller. What can we do for you?
Hi, Mary. Hi, Neville. It's Kathy.
Oh,
Kathy, hey, how
good
we
to
doing?
hear from you.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Excellent. Fantastic subject tonight. I am thrilled to be able to watch, and
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to let you know I had a major revelation in my life yesterday.
Really?
I'm baking bread in the kitchen and listening to songs on my iPod. Dan Fogelberg comes up. It's a song called Believe in Me. And I realized at that moment, as I'm listening to the words, I had always applied words to songs to other people, not so much myself. And I fell more in love yesterday, and I realized that the person that I fell more in love with was me.
Hey.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There you go.
And it's just
That gave me
tremendous to be able to add just another layer of looking at everything, including myself, with
That's
love.
Very well put.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Yeah,
Because that is
that's
so true.
Excellent.
And sometimes people think, like, before you actually feel what you just related, you can hear that. You hear people say that, and it sounds like Stuart Smalley saying, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough. And it sounds very superficial. It sounds trite or somehow glossing over things. But when you really feel what that's talking about, it's very deep. It's deep.
It
and
was
you settle
incredibly moving
in.
for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
settle into your soul in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah, very
Well,
much so.
I don't want to take up too much time, but
Aw,
I
well,
did want
thank
to
you.
just let
Oh,
you
no,
know
that's
that
very-
I love you guys a lot.
We love
We
you
love
too.
you too, yeah.
And Mary, if you have a moment, if you could pull some cards, that would be great. And I'm going to go ahead and hang up.
Sure.
Okay, we'll do that at the
Yeah, right
at
after
the end of
duck.
the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Post duck, you'll be first.
Post-duck.
I believe. Yes.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Just
oh,
a little of the. Oh, okay.
do you want to?
Just history on the show because it was related. You know, years ago we were saying to write. I remember who it is I really am, and then that was changed to
I remember who it is I really am, and then it's safe to be who I really am.
safe for me to be who I really am, and then the other one, it's safe for me to love who I really am. And then that was part of the revelation where I was saying the third eye lit like a so bright that I would have to put sunglasses on for the evolution. Both words are correct from the shooting. So even more so. So everybody look in the mirror and go, oh, you sly devil. Oh, I love you so much.
But you see,
No, that's
maybe
to
that's
get
a
you to
little
love.
that's a little spooky. But no, I'm kidding. But you know what? I think one of the things is people get this confused.
Yeah.
They think an
Not
overinflated
narcissism.
ego
Yeah.
is loving yourself, but that's no more loving yourself than an underinflated ego,
Yeah.
than a resistance to love
Right,
is
right.
is meaning you don't need it. Anyway.
So love yourself too. Put
Just
it on
love
the list.
yourself. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to play a tuning fork for us again tonight, and this one is the frequency, the Hertz frequency of your DNA. Got a lot of positive feedback from
Excellent.
this before. Remember, your DNA is replicating at all times, and the vibration that is going on in your thoughts and in your body and in your environment dictates how your DNA morphs, changes, and evolves.
Very good. Yeah.
Sometimes that vibration may be something that makes it so the DNA doesn't replicate in its perfect divine fashion. So if you allow this vibration in, and this is the exercise, it's just to allow it into your body, you will, as your DNA replicates, even as we're doing the show, it will replicate to this. Yes, I'm very aware of that. So here we go. Okay. And I am going to be posting a bunch of healing tones. If you go to iTunes, podcasting, you can get Telepathic TV, the audio version, to listen on your iPod. But you can also go to Meditation Break. It's a new podcast that I've put up that has meditations that I've done, but I'm going to be adding more there and to the website using some of these healing tones underneath everything.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
So, I think it's time for the duck.
Here the duck, here the duck.
It's sacred and it's holy.
And
it's a
our
duck.
duck dangling. Okay. And here comes the duck.
Okay, I got communication.
Well, that's what we're here.
Communion, communication, it's all about getting together. And I had harmony too.
Creativity. I got originally obedience, which takes a bit of time.
I used to draw that a lot, remember?
Yeah, well, obedience is love. It's another form of love. If you recognize that 100% of everything that is on your side, if you recognize that, then obedience is equally on your side. So you don't have to rebel against obedience. And
yeah, well,
based on the universe loving you, then there's no such thing as disobedience or obedience. It just is an obsolete sort of concept.
well, I used to draw that
to
pretty
obedience.
frequently,
Yeah.
and I think what you're describing is what used to happen is I had a resistance to that because I just didn't care for that word.
Yeah.
And so I would always laugh because I was resisting it. It kept coming up. So I even said on the show one time, I choose no longer to resist that. And it's never come up since, and that's been years probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for Kathy. The first card we get, the time is right and the time is ripe. This is a card when things are really changing, like teaching, learning. It's just a very, very fertile, open time for you to invite those things that you've been calling to you. They're starting to come. And sometimes that means going to school or teaching or sharing your gifts with other people. And I actually saw you sitting in a circle singing just then for a moment. And I know you sing beautifully and you play so many instruments and everything. When this is talking about claiming your power, it's like, what is your heart telling you to do? If you were to look at the things you enjoy most in your life and say, what do you think you would enjoy the most at this point in your life? That's your power right now. So claiming your power, and know that you have all you require right there on your back, which is what the camel, all the emotions, the water, the stuff that the camel keeps is reservoirs of everything that he needs or she needs. So you following your path is going to be funded, and I really feel like that it's what it's saying, that your path is here getting to know you.
Oh, excellent.
And all the things that come up.
And we have our next caller. Just one note, 1 second, next caller. There's the word earth is also the word heart. They're the same letters, and there's also the word wraith. And the word wraith, which you have probably not heard, it means the first piece of fruit in the entire orchard to ripen, and that's what that card reminded me of.
Great.
The wraith, and it sounds negative, but it's not at all. And that is our earth. We live on the planet that will be the first to achieve things that we don't yet understand that we're doing it, and this program is a major part of it. So by all means, tell everyone you know, be obnoxious about it, because that's a form of love. Okay.
And please like us on Facebook so that we feel validated.
Yes, externally. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Hi, this is Edith. Thanks for your answer before.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I was just calling for a reading. I'll hang up.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling
Yes.
both times.
Absolutely.
We love to hear from you. Call us back.
Yes, we do love that. Okay.
It's excellent, by the way. Excellent question.
Yep, sure is, because, oh boy, I've even felt that way myself. I mean, we all have.
Yeah.
It's too bad, but our workplace has turned into the same dynamics as in our family. And our coworkers are siblings, and we're competing for our parents' attention and stuff. It can be very uncomfortable. This is talking about the source, being right at the source of it all. And I'm not talking about your work situation only, but everything in your life. And so know that you have the power to change whatever within you that then changes the movie that's being projected out there. new love, that's supposed to be an egg, but the egg opening up and love emerging out of it, that can represent someone coming into your life that's very important to you. And I really do feel like that maybe you have been a little closed off to that, to new energies coming in, but that now you're opening up. It's sort of like what Kathy was saying, that the loving self then brings that opening in the world. That's why if people haven't dated in a long time and they start dating, and then all of a sudden they find that all these other people are interested in them too, it's just because they've turned that faucet of love on in their heart. And so we really do have closed and open signs on ourselves, and so it's time to put that open sign. And this is really powerful because the eagle swoops in, and it's a card of spirit, and it's coming here to carry you to higher elevations. And I tell you, I had eagle as a spirit guide that would come in my dreams so much for many years, and they were so powerful. The eagle would land and talk to me and taught me so many things. And pay attention to your dreams, because I really feel like eagle is telling you it's coming. And so listen for signs. If it's not in your dreams, then maybe it'll be a book or some other sign. So thank you.
Yukatangi, yeah. Hi, caller. What's your name, please? No. The non-caller.
No
Yet
caller.
again, a form of love, because it gives us the opportunity to.
Yeah, well, I would like to just say that we're going to be doing a crystal class coming up. I haven't fine-tuned the dates as of yet. We're looking for a volunteer to sit at our booth at an expo that's coming up, if anybody could do that. Number 3 is I started a radio show called Inner Wisdom. It's on Blog Talk, and I'll put links up on the website to it, and you can listen to it in the archives. I'm going to be having some interesting guests on that show.
And
So
also,
I'd love to have you.
We're going to be at Ruby Tuesdays shortly. If this is Thursday night, rather than a rebroadcast, do come join us if you would seize the opportunity. And we sit around the table there, and everyone gets to talk. If you'd like to meet us in person, this is a grand opportunity, and see all of these things going on, and that we are real. My God, they're real. I wouldn't have thought that.
I don't know if you're real
yeah.
or not. You're pretty unreal to me.
It's R-E-E-L. But yeah, well, it was when it was filmed in those days.
Yeah.
And we were talking about more or less a metaphysical yard sale too, or rummage sale, or whatever word that is.
Yeah.
For some of the crystals we
Yes,
can
we
find
have
their new owners for.
Yeah, and the crystal, we're going to be doing advanced gridding and healing, and I tell you, it's a very spectacular weekend, filled with not only techniques but great healing, and we'll probably have crystals for sale in that. They get the first pick of that, because we've got plenty there. But at any rate, remember to recognize your role in things, and not in a negative, beating yourself up way. Just say, what is my harmony that is allowing these people to treat me this way? And I tell you, that's where it's rich, and that's where the detective work comes in. That's what I love to do, is to assist people to find out, what is it going on there that keeps this recurring pattern
really
coming up?
Yeah.
What is the truth underlying all things? And sometimes you won't find out what the blessing in the circumstance is. You won't find out the blessing as to why this person shot and killed this other person. That doesn't mean there isn't one there. That doesn't mean that this is somehow love attempting to get something out of the way so that love, the memory of love can come back. But we won't always know. That's why you can't base it on a proof of some kind. You have to just trust that love is always there.
Removing the why from your equation will assist a great deal. And having been shot to death, I do understand that it's a complete and total blessing to go to the other side. It's totally a blessing. If someone were to kill me, if I had breath in my body, I would tell them that I loved them for doing that, and that I'm happy to know my assignment is up, and I already know that I've done a good job on it. I already know that I'm going on to something absolutely fantastically more than what it is I have been up to, and I just love you for having done that. And that's everything is love. There are no exceptions. no exceptions. It's a matter of, and as you said earlier, just accept that it's love. Start with that premise. Accept that whatever that is love, and now show me.
Well, and you
yeah.
have to build the room for the love to show up in your life. So you must first believe in order to see, not see in order to believe. So believe in the expanse of love.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
know.
love hides very well. Love hides in plain sight. Love hides all over the place.
Well, it's really
so that we can search for it, so that we are motivated to find it. That's the essence of it.
That's what I was explaining to someone today, as a matter of fact, that it's not so much the discoveries that we make, it's the journey to it. The goal is always the red herring. It's the things that we acquire, the wisdom and the knowledge that we gain about ourselves. And I know it's
Who is this
toward
guy,
the end
red
of the show.
herring? I've heard so much about it.
Right, that's red herring.
Yes, the stage
Rick has red
manager,
hair.
Red herring, yeah.
See?
Okay. Yeah. Come to some of our events.
Okay.
We love you.
Anyway, it was our
It'll
joy
be
and
fun.
honor to take you to the door. And please spread your the word to your friends and such about the show. Because this is stuff that you can really change your life with. It's not merely inspirational stuff. It's really ways to look at your life
It's
differently.
beyond inspirational.
Is our
Install the spirit and then activate it.